Welcome my creative friends, Dennis C. Nolasco here. If this is your first time watching, I've been documenting my progress on the Evolve Artist Foundation curriculum. So make sure to subscribe and comment on my progress as I work to improve my art skills. I'm currently working on block 1, which is about value and form. There are also 4 total blocks, which is similar to a semester but done at your own pace. So depending on how many hours you can put into each week, you can be done in about a year on average. At my current pace of roughly 1 assignment a week, it'll probably take me about a year and a half total. The videos are actually a couple months behind my current progress, so let me give you a quick status update. So I've been painting an hour every day in the morning, and that's been going really well for me, so I'm glad I started doing that. I haven't missed a day since. And also I mentioned about using 2 centimeters of paint per color instead of the normal 4, since I'm doing an hour a day, so in order to stop wasting paint. And that's been going good for the most part, but since it's a smaller amount, they do dry faster on the palette. So sometimes I add a drop of oil like every day or so in order to keep the paint fresh. Assignment 10, Vase and Tape Overview. Now the difficulty is about the same with the last painting, the main difference being the top of the vase has its own cast shadow on its own form, in addition to the cast shadow from the tape. There's also some subtle edges for the inside part of the lip of the vase. This is also the first painting where the student determines what type of shadow something is. On the previous assignments, on the template, there was a dashed line to indicate if something was a form shadow and a solid line to indicate something was a cast shadow. But now they've removed that and just put everything as a solid line, and it's up to the student to determine if something is a form or a cast shadow. And of course, you have to study the actual photo image to determine if something is form or cast. Now at this point in our studies, cast shadows are always made with hard edges, and form shadows are always made with gradient edges.
It sound right, boy.
I'm getting back into the swing of things, but for some reason this one took me longer than the last one. Not too much longer, I think maybe about an hour longer. So I think it's just the fact that I took my time doing the gradients on this one. I do like the fact that we had to make the choice on which shadows were form shadows versus cast shadows. Up until this point also, I didn't realize that cast shadows had the hard edges. This may be considered the top portion of the sake bottle more carefully, since the mouth creates a cast shadow that merges with the form shadow. So actual painting time was about 8 hours. I think the last one is about 7 hours, so not too much difference. But the total time spent in Evolve activity was about 11 hours this week, so maybe that's why I thought it took longer, because I actually did more school activities. FYI, Evolve activity can include anything to do with the school, such as interactions with students and faculty, prep for the homework and cleanup, going over the assignment, and watching videos. The critique was pretty brief for this one. I guess if they don't see any real issues, they just give you a pat on the back. Quote, "You've done an excellent job with this painting. I'm glad to hear that you are analytically considering what you see in the painting in front of you. This is an important skill as an artist. Keep up the hard work as you move forward."
It sound right, boy.
So here are my closing thoughts. Since I'm focusing more on my art studies rather than making videos right now, my YouTube uploads will probably be bi-weekly instead of weekly going forward. My friends, also make sure to click that bell icon so you're notified when I do upload. If you want to see work in progress of all my art studies, please check out my social media or my YouTube community tab. I'm currently studying 5 art subjects. Right now, number 1 is the evolved paintings, which you're seeing here. I do that in the mornings. Then later on in the mornings, I do perspective studies, about a half an hour for that, followed by afternoon break of ink master studies from comic books. I don't really do them too long. I only do 50 minutes of that a day. But in general, the reason why I keep up with the ink studies is to make sure my inking skills don't degrade over time, because you can inking, if you don't practice, especially with a brush, you can actually lose your finesse from inking. So I want to make sure I do that at least 15 minutes every day. Then I also do the comic book master studies. Currently I'm doing Prince Valiant master studies to make sure I know how to compose a layout, and in order to get the anatomy right and also the perspective right. And lastly, I just started learning Blender for 3D modeling.
It sound right, boy.
All right, everybody, until next time, take care and God bless.